Well, good afternoon, everyone. Myself and the members of the Western Caucus are gathered today to voice our vehement opposition to the Green New Deal before it is put out of its misery by a vote in the U.S. Senate this evening. Last night we held a special order on the House floor and discussed how dangerous this legislation is to our country. Make no mistake, the Green New Deal is a death sentence for the American dream. The Green New Deal would codify into law a one-size-fits-all government health care system, offer free college for all, and create a job guarantee. According to figures released by the American Action Forum, the Green New Deal would cost every household $600,000. The Green New Deal would implement the radical socialist utopian idea of Medicare for all, which will cost the American taxpayers $36 trillion over a 10-year period. The cost of this would be imposed on the taxpayer would be unsustainable. So the Medicare for all proposal would really mean Medicare for none. With an estimated price tag of $93 trillion over the first 10 years, the Green New Deal's cost more than 4 times the current U.S. public debt. The Green New Deal is a Soviet-style takeover of our entire economy that would radically transform America into a country that would be very bleak and unrecognizable from the country we know and love today. In total, Americans would spend $155.5 billion to replace their furnaces, $11.9 billion to replace gas dryers, $50 billion to replace water heaters, and $26 billion to replace stoves. The Green New Deal is a job killer. The Green New Deal would eliminate 10.3 million jobs in the oil and gas, 600,000 jobs in aviation, 1.4 million hydroelectric jobs, 100,000 jobs in the nuclear energy, and 500,000 jobs in coal. In pushing the Green New Deal, Representative Ocasio-Cortez initially claimed she wanted to, quote, get rid of farting cows, end of quote. Then doubled down in an interview stating, quote, the Green New Deal, what we talk about is that we need to take a look at factory farming, period. It's a wild. Maybe we should be eating we shouldn't be eating a hamburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have to take a look at everything, end of quote. To show my appreciation and support for the dairy farmers, cows, and American agriculture, I'm going to take a drink of this great, nice, cold glass of milk. That's delicious. That's refreshing. Got milk? And maybe not under the Green New Deal. I now want to introduce my good friend from Utah, Representative Stewart, to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Gosar, and for the invitation to be here. I'd like to begin by saying something that I think will surprise some of you, and that is that I consider myself an environmentalist. I live in Utah. When I got out of the Air Force, I was writing books. I could live virtually anywhere in the world. The only thing I needed was power to my laptop. I chose to live in Utah because I love to rock climb, I love to ski, I love to stand in my backyard and look at the mountains. I want to protect them. I have been an advocate for various forms of green, clean energy, renewable energy, windmills in my district, solar farms in my district, geothermal in my district. I support all of those. I do not support the Green New Deal. Part of the reason is because it's entirely, completely, 100% fallacy. It's a unicorn chasing Easter bunnies. It's impossible to implement, as they've described it. And by the way, there's an enormous inconsistency with, on one hand, saying the Earth will end from climate change in 12 years, and at the same time not put forward real proposals on how to deal with that. And I guess the final thing I would say, because I don't want to repeat what Mr. Gosar has already said, but I would elaborate on a few points, and that is the Green New Deal has very little to do with actual environmental policy and an awful lot to do with redesigning and changing our entire culture and economy and form of government in very meaningful ways. For example, it calls for community resilience. What does that have to do with the environment? What does higher education and a guarantee of free college for everyone have to do with green policies or environment? As Mr. Gosar said, high quality health care. A laudable goal, there's different ways to do that, but what does that have to do with the environment? Guaranteeing everyone a workable living wage that has family leave and paid vacation. What does that have to do with the environment? This is socialism wrapped in environmental policy as a sweetener for a bitter pill that would destroy, as Mr. Gosar has already said, that would destroy destroy the American dream. And had you not slobbered it, I would have raised my toast and drank your milk as well. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here today. Oklahoma's energy industry employs hundreds of thousands of people and generates more than $50 billion annually. And the oil and gas companies bring high-paying jobs to my district and have been the single largest contributor to state revenue in recent years. It's also, if you look at the Green New Deal, it's also attacking our aerospace industry, which again contributes about $47 billion to our economy. So in totality, the Green New Deal would affect about 75% of our economy in Oklahoma. It's a non-starter. In short, energy is the lifeblood of Oklahoma's economy, and under the toxic Green New Deal, we would lose those jobs and the important impact those companies have on our state economy. The bill has an astronomical price tag of $93 trillion. And to pay for it, they recommended a 70% tax rate. But even this drastic measure would not pay for a fraction of what the new Green Deal would cost. In order to come even close to paying for it, taxes would have to be raised on all income levels. Some would estimate 100% tax on those making $100,000 or more a year, assuming you would work and give all your money to the federal government. Not only is the legislation detrimental to my state's economy and key industry, but it would also destroy the country's economy. Furthermore, this bill would shatter our way of life, our travel norms, what we eat, where we live. I could never and will never support a bill that does that to my constituents. I would urge my fellow members to not support it as well. Thank you.
I'd like to now introduce my colleague from California, Doug Lamal.
Thank you, Mr. Gosar. You know, what we're seeing here, this is a smorgasbord of the left-wing, long-time wish list for socialization of this country. I know that when the the Senate will be voting on this New Deal soon, and the fact that the Democrats themselves are criticizing that it's being brought to a vote, either the Senate Democrats or Representative AOC herself, really shows the fallacy in the thinking of this bill because they're afraid for the vote. Right in my home state of California, I'm a farmer in my real life in the far north state, 1st District, and we farm rice there, and many of my colleagues, my neighbors are farmers, ranchers, foresters, and like that. And what we're seeing is there's very few solutions that actually help those industries thrive. This will practically kill those industries. What I know and I see from my neighbors that the best stewards of the land indeed are farmers, ranchers, and foresters, are taking care of the land long term. This will not help. Indeed, what we need is not a Green New Deal, but a John Deere Green New Deal to help those growers do what they do best. So if we're implemented today, when we talk about the actual environmental part of the bill, it isn't the complete social program that's been talked about, is it may possibly achieve a 0.17% difference on global temperatures, if you believe that that can happen. So what does it really do? It devastates the United States economy. It takes away choices that Americans are used to, and think of what is the cornerstone of this country when we talk about the freedom of choice in the United States. Taking away your hamburgers, taking away beef, taking away airline travel. I just came from the Transportation Committee. We had a big hearing about making our airports work better. People that want to basically eliminate airline travel and replace it with something like the high-speed rail boondoggle we have in California, whose price is at least triple from what the voters of California were shown 10 years ago when they narrowly passed that. This is what they want to continue on and on and on, is the types of things that don't work and take away choices, and indeed make it harder for people to live and prosper in this country. So it's high time that I will be actually excited to see what the vote's going to be in the Senate, and that people are held accountable for these radical ideas of bringing forward. And instead, let's move forward with things that are going to help our economy, help rural America thrive, which is really the target for a lot of this, of the rural economy that is struggling so much already. So I thank my colleagues for joining, Mr. Gosar for leading this, and look forward to any questions.
And now I want to invite my friend from South Carolina, Mr. Norman.
Thank you, Congressman Gosar. Thank you for leading this effort. You know, until I got to Congress, I didn't realize that things could be dreamed up like To dream this up is amazing. You know a bill is bad when the authors that wrote it do not want to vote on it. So as Congressman Lamont said, it would be interesting to vote today. And why they don't, I know why they don't want to take it, because it's ludicrous and the American people see it for that. The fact that the Democrats are criticizing Senator McConnell for putting their own bill to the Senate for a vote is amazing. A politician gives promises, a statesman finds solutions. This is an empty promise, not with a serious solution, and even more so, one that can be affordable. What shows the insincerity of this proposal is that it eliminates one of the proven ways to reduce pollution, nuclear energy. The Green New Deal would eliminate nuclear energy, the lowest cost provider for large-scale electricity. Nuclear energy currently provides 20% of America's electricity and 56% of our nation's carbon-free electricity. Both North and South Carolina would be left in the complete dark without nuclear energy. Nearly half of our energy comes from nuclear generation in the two Carolinas. If we want to curb pollution, we need to promote free market solutions. Remember, the invention of the email has saved more trees than all of the tree huggers in the world stacked up. By unleashing the free market, we can create jobs rather than raise taxes. The challenges we face as a nation will not be solved by bureaucrats. It will only come from the greatest engine of innovation known to man, the American free enterprise system. And I'd like to toast to my good friend from Arizona with milk. Thank you for what you're doing, Congressman, and appreciate you leading this out.
Thank you, gentlemen. And now I introduce my friend from Texas, Mr. Gomer.
Thank you, Chairman Gosar, and appreciate all of my friends that are here today. Rather than reiterate anything anybody else has said, let me just point out, when we talk about a Green New Deal, let's be realistic. We're talking about a reason that we need much more totalitarian government. We're talking about working people up into a frenzy when they don't realize this leads to the elimination of the middle class, much as we saw was occurring during the Obama years. I don't remember seeing much of made in the media, but we had something occur that has never occurred before in the history of the United States. And President Obama admitted it happened that 95% of the income went to the top 1%. That had never happened. But that's where you go. The more the government takes over, the very top rich get richer, the middle class shrinks, the poor get poorer. And a man we lost recently, for whom I had great respect. We took different positions on some issues, but I knew John Dingler's heart. It was a heart that cared about people. It was a heart that wanted what was best. He was a proponent of the National Environmental Protection Act. He cared deeply about people and about saving the planet. But because he was such a man of integrity, when then Speaker Pelosi wanted a socialist type health care bill passed, he had been pushing for something like that for his entire career. But she also demanded that the cap and trade bill be pushed through. And he was unwavering. He said, and I quote, "That bill is not only a tax, it's a great big one." And what he understood, and he said, this goes as a tax on the people that can least afford it. So when we talk about a Green New Deal, what people need to understand is it is going to be an exorbitant tax on the people that can least afford it. It's going to drive people out of the middle class into the poor class, where they have to have government help because, as we saw during the Obama years, got over 50 million people on food stamps. Now, because the economy is more vibrant, we're down to 37 million. That's progress. People moving back from the poor into the middle class. But if this Green New Deal, even half of it were adopted, it's going to drive middle class, hardworking Americans out of their jobs into the poor area where they have to have the government provide some type of welfare in order to survive. So this Green New Deal will run up the cost of everything. Well, that's an inconvenience to the rich. It's an inconvenience to the billionaires that support this kind of stuff. But it is absolutely devastating and destructive to the people that are hardworking in the middle class. They can plan, if the Green New Deal is adopted, even half of it, they're going to be headed the direction of the poorest in our country, while the rich are the ones that really make the money. We can't do that to the American people. Thank you.
I'm just gonna finish, now, while many of us laugh about this Green New Deal and think it's ridiculous, we must take them serious on the other side, given the large amount of Democrats who support the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal currently has 90 House co-sponsors and 11 Senate co-sponsors, including Bernie Sanders, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, and Amy Klobuchar. There are 14 Democratic presidential candidates who have endorsed the Green New Deal, including Sanders, Gillibrand, Harris, Warren, Booker, Klobuchar, former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, Washington Governor Jay Inslee, Eric Swalwell, Tulsi Gabbard, John Delaney, Marianne Williamson, former HUD Secretary Julian Castro, and South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg. The reason why I bring this up is that the Senate Democrats have said that they're going to vote president. You know what? If you want to be president of the United States, go bold or go home. If you either endorse this or you don't. Don't play gimmicks. If you're behind this, stand up for it. Show where your votes count. And we want to see people do that this afternoon. Vote for the 60-vote cloture, and let's see where you stand. I'm done now. We'll take some questions.